Can everybody hear me? Peace be upon you. I hope everyone's not too pained to be sitting in with for once, the grey clouds of Scotland depart, and for a moment we see the true self shining. The classic negotiations of samsara. So we'll probably delve further into what it means to be a Bodhisattva. So I think we'll start with a meditation kind of based on what we've been doing again. Contemplating, reflecting what it means for love squared. That's how we can put it, like bodhicitta. It's an inconceivable love for all beings, without an exception. So that includes Bill Gates, Biden, Trump. I don't know any of the British politicians. I'd get taken off the air if I made comments. I had descriptions, but I don't know any names. Who was at my time, like Thatcher, Heseltine, Norm, what's the guy? They used to put him in leather jackets and stuff and spit an image. I can't remember his name. These people you have to love as much as you love your wife. There'd be no difference in a bodhisattva's mind between who would you help. And we understand that this is worth more than being good at MasterChef. So we watch MasterChef and there's people crying because two guys praised their food. They're crying with happiness. This means more to me than anything else. So we want that same passion, but the wish to develop our mind to such a state of love that it doesn't make any difference who we're hanging out with, between our wife and Donald Trump or some Nazi skinhead guy who's just kicked the shit out of someone. It's just still the same love. It's not like we're lowering our wife down. The feelings that we have for our wife or our mother, we're raising everyone up to that. I think, is it even real? Is it possible? Yeah, it's actually quite easy. Just imagine whoever you meet, whoever you come into contact, you can just imagine it now. You go down to the shop, you meet the shopkeeper, and in your heart you wish that they attained true happiness, that we're free from all suffering, and you recognize them as a Buddha. They're not a shopkeeper. They're a being on this planet like you. And then the next person you meet, there's a little kid on their bike in the park. You feel the same way. You go home and you see your wife and you feel the same way. That's what universal love means. It doesn't mean that you kind of look at everybody in the universe at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Only God can do that. That's what God's doing. And we want that. And we come to classes and we do practices. We're trying to remind ourselves again that this is what we want. This is more valuable. This is more valuable than MasterChef. It's more valuable than my business. It's more valuable than the UFC. Not that these things, we don't do these things, right? Not that they're not important. As we'll get into the vows, you have to eat, right? It's just what we're valuing and reminding ourselves, what I value is unconditional love. And on the path, we generally have two responses to people. We either have devotion for them or compassion. So we have devotion for those who are further on the path, who've developed unconditional love. And we have compassion for those that are suffering. These are the general two kind of responses that a Bodhisattva, that we have on the path. When we're new to the path, most people appear amazing to us, right? Sangha, practitioners, like even meeting a Sangha member can just remind you to come back into yourself. We do understand that the Sangha members have spiritual power. And we come back. And we turn any sense of competition into devotion, like where we admire the quality of the unconditional love that's moving through the whole energy field of the practitioners. It's essentially coming from the Buddha. And people who aren't on that, we have compassion for. Yeah, Bodhisattva. You say some mothers lick the snot off their child's nose so they don't have the rough hands, like when they're a baby. Not when they're 7, so like young gents do. When you're a baby, some mothers are the unconditional love. So let's just get into this space of what it means, what this vibe means of a bodhisattva. What we're doing when we talk about pure lands and heaven. So just completely relax. Feel that the Mother is supporting you, the Mother Earth. Feel that the Mother is breathing you, the air. When that breath stops moving through you, you'll die. The Mother is supporting you. The Mother is providing you with heat in the body, heat on the outside. Basically, your whole existence is the manifestation of support of the Mother. we may have forgotten how loved we are. Now, we know this for a fact, a scientific fact. Complete, absolute, 100% fact. If you weren't loved by your mother, you would have died. A baby on their own with no love dies. A baby on their own, but supplied with food, water, everything they need, but without the mother's love, dies. They've done, because people are crazy, they've done scientific experiments on this. So we know it's a truth that you have experienced unconditional love. That's why you're here. If you hadn't, you wouldn't be here. So we can get into internal arguments with ourselves about how much our mother should have loved us when we're older. That's got nothing to do with the fact that she did love us unconditionally. It's the very core of our being. So food alone does not make us live. It's love. I want you to feel that love. You can visualize yourself. Maybe just feel that you're having a dream tonight. And you're walking through the most beautiful park. The sound of the wind induces a feeling of calm and bliss. The beauty of the trees. The play of the light. And you feel you're coming home. You can drop all the masks, the games, the fears, the cynicism. And you come to a beautiful home. Whatever you imagine a beautiful home to be. When you have that feeling of coming home, you open the door, and as you go in, there's the Buddha. However you imagine him to be, or her. Looking at you with unconditional love. Imagine falling into their arms, knowing that you're completely seen. And you imagine kneeling before them, and they see directly the worst thing you've ever done. This would include murdering your mother, murdering your father, murdering a realized being, attacking the body of a Buddha, or causing hatred amongst spiritual practitioners. If you haven't done those 5, think of the worst action you've done. And the Buddha sees this, and you recognize that he doesn't care in the slightest. And you feel that wave of forgiveness. That no action you could do could possibly affect his love and affection for you. Within that forgiveness is the wisdom that understands the person who performed those actions is not really you. You are temporarily mad. You know this, and you see the Buddha knowing this, and you feel the wave of unconditional love. That you are released from all identity with anything negative. That you are never judged. You are never turned away. You can be yourself completely. You feel no threat ever again. This is a pure land. This is the environment of bodhicitta that welcomes every being back home with no judgment. Feel it deeply in your heart. Feel the Buddha holding you in his unconditional love. Then feel to yourself, I want to be like that. That's the environment I want to create where I live. That whoever comes to me can relax all their masks, their fears and their worries. That they feel completely non-judged, with no sense of threat, attack, or abuse. Total acceptance. And the wish for them to find their own inner pure land of total love and acceptance of themselves. I must awaken so I can guide all beings like this to unconditional love. I must awaken my unconditional heart of pure love. May I become a Buddha. Gently come back to the body, the space around you. Let me listen to the guidelines on how to maintain, cultivate, generate the unconditional love of our true nature. So we'll start with the Dalai Lama's Guru's text. Those who wish to help living beings considered, out of a feeling of love, what would be of benefit to them, and they saw it was just this supreme bodhicitta. The moon with its cooling beams eliminates pain. The sun, the jewel of the sky, dispels darkness. They cannot be compared to the bodhicitta that eradicates defilement. Bodhicitta is the moon of the mind. Bodhicitta is the sun of the mind. Bodhicitta is the jewel of the mind. Bodhicitta is the nectar of the mind. If you want to help yourself, produce excellent bodhicitta. If you want to help others, produce excellent bodhicitta. If you want to serve the doctrine, produce bodhicitta. If you want the path to bliss, produce bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, which causes incomparable enlightenment to be obtained, is water, since it washes the stains of non-virtue, is a hand, since it gathers virtue, is a whip, since it urges one to the holy Dharma. It said, so if you're lacking joy on the path, and I've seen and experienced people who just practice awareness, where they make ludicrous comments like, you can still be depressed and awaken. Generally a kind of, I don't feel much, but I've got the awareness going, yeah, that's okay, you got a kind of mundane, neutral experience, but you're aware. These kind of experiences happen for people who aren't practicing bodhicitta. Bodhicitta produces joy. So if you're missing the joy, it means you're missing the love side, the bodhicitta side. Basically, when we're doing it for ourselves, it's just not as much fun. And when we're caring for others and being with others, that's what gives us the joy. It's difficult to laugh with yourself, isn't it? You can do. It's generally more enjoyable to laugh with someone else, isn't it? Osho put it very poetically that if a disciple becomes enlightened, then the master becomes re-enlightened anew. It's just this inexpressible joy that togetherness is happening. It's not like I'm over here and you're over there and I feel great because I don't suffer that much. But it's difficult to enjoy a party when your child is at home with whooping cough. Can you? Can you really get into a party and your child is at home puking its guts out, wheezing, coughing, 3 years old. No, I'm just going to go off and enjoy myself. Is it a burden? This is when maybe you get into a split with the self-cherishing mind in our modern culture. It's like, no, I want to go off and enjoy myself at a party. The child is stopping me feeling that because I've got feelings of care. And that's how the self-cherishing mind can get us. And the culture's training us to be selfish. But we know we can't. And we know it's a higher joy to have to, to sit through the bad times. This is what it means, right? If you're just going for the good times, it's just superficial. Like, part of the Bodhisattva's way is you have to go to hell, to the roots, in order to go to heaven. It's like, I think it's Nietzsche said that. If there's no depth, there's no height. But I think that's a simple understanding, right? If you can enjoy your party whilst your child is at home sick, maybe if you're an 8 on the Enneagram, you can do it. I don't know. They have a special ability to enjoy themselves while their enjoyment causes suffering to someone else and not stop. The empathetic person is much more difficult to enjoy something knowing your loud music is causing someone to not be able to sleep. But in order to protect our selfishness, we have to diminish our care. That's a personal choice we'll have to make. You need to enjoy yourself as well, right? Or you can't care. Because if you never enjoy yourself, you can't care, and then you'll lose the care because you can't maintain that. See the balance? So it doesn't mean you don't go to a party because you've got a child, but you won't be able to enjoy it as much. That's all. You don't have to go into like an extreme reaction because that pain, the pain of the heart, it's difficult. I think someone like Joseph Campbell said, how many people are following their heart? He said, the world is a wasteland. It's people following desire, right? And to open up the heart, you have to feel things, right? You have to feel pain and suffering. This is the journey of the Bodhisattva, to feel pain and suffering. And to choose that. Not to choose just personal enjoyment. It's poetically put that you neglect nirvana for samsara. But as we've seen in the vows earlier, it doesn't mean that we don't overcome our own suffering. It's a poetic way of saying it. And a poetic way of saying it was in this twilight language, was that Buddha went to the gates of heaven and they just got the trumpets ready, got like Hendrix waiting on guitar. I suppose imagine like modern day, got Hendrix just waiting to rip into something with John, Paul, George and Ringo, like at the Beatles reunion for you coming in. And he's like, nah, I can't go in. In fact, I'm not going in until every single sentient being has gone in before me. Then I'll go in. What a mind. When we prostrate, people go, oh, you prostrate to a guru, blah. That's what you're prostrating to. Yeah. Whereas people are prostrating, and you can see it, essentially prostrating to food critics on MasterChef. People say it's not degenerate times. In fact, you're criticized for prostrating to someone who's got that mind, because that's a cult. And you're praised for going on MasterChef or destroying someone in a competition and making them down so you can get that coveted apron. This is what we mean, really, by degenerate times. So it's poetry. And it's just what I said earlier on of like, you can't enjoy a party if your child is suffering. And we take that image of the Buddha, that's what we want. That we can't really enjoy ourselves. We don't want to while someone is suffering. That's part of the mindset of the Bodhisattva. When we go into Tantra, when we generated this mind, I want you to understand it like this and try to get the feel of it, that the only way you can heal your child is to be the queen of the party. Try and make that connect. It's not to go back to the child and sit by the bedside. The only way the child will actually heal is if you go to the party and you enjoy yourself more than everyone else there. That's Tantra. Your motivation is you can't enjoy the party because you're the child's suffering and you want to free it from suffering. So you're going to leave, but someone at the Buddha's at the door saying, you can't heal the child like that. The only way to heal it is to dance your ass off, sing songs to God, and that will heal the child. You can see how easily we can just slip into Tantra of I'm just going to enjoy myself and forget the bodhicitta motivation. But that's what we're doing in Tantra. And you can, again, maybe see that balance between the suffering and the care, and understanding we have to love, enjoy, praise life, see the beauty in everything. That we have to become a Buddha, which is someone free from suffering. So it's not something we're going to figure out with our mind. The spiritual path is not something to do with our mind. This is these feelings, intention. And it's like, what an amazing thing to try and do. There's a challenge for you. But hopefully that image of the Buddha just is something that we all would like to develop in our mind, that we would be prepared for everyone else to leave Auschwitz. We'll go last. Now, we're not saying we can do that, but we devote ourselves to that mind or someone we feel has that mind. We recognize that that's something worth living for. That's something worth studying for, doing meditations for, to have that mind. But we never know. I'd be surprised if Baron didn't do it. If we were all suffering, I imagine that he'd probably be the last one to try and get out. You don't think? I do. Day to day might be a selfish prick, but that's just day to day. If it comes to the crunch, that's the thing, it's not like some intellectual thing. When it comes to the crunch, when it comes to difficult situation, this is who you are. Yeah, don't think it's someone outside of you. It's going to be a dad soon. I suspect he'll be like that all the time. So much so that we'll probably have to tell him to, take time out, stop doing it too much. Because he's a 2 and they're just effortlessly loving, aren't they? So much so it becomes their fault that they forget about what they actually need. But it's not like an effort for him to think about someone else, is it? It's just like, get off me. It's like, just think about yourself for a moment. You need the balance. So they're not. It's poetry and it's abstract. Don't think you're not like that. In certain situations, you are like that. I'm sure you've done it. I'm sure you've thought about someone else other than yourself at some point. But a lot of the time in our day-to-day, we just get caught up in ourselves, don't we? And that's part of what the training is, just to remind ourselves, become aware again of what we value. And not like we're just thinking about it all the time so we become tense. We just remind ourselves and then engage. It's like, I value my partner and I want to help them. Then we engage in cooking. And during that period of cooking, you might get pissed off at them. You know, get the salt out. You know, whatever it is you start. That, it's like, it's not too bad. You know, you don't have to, like, oh no, I had a negative thought. It's not like that. Now, as we go into the vows, it's like, it's really important that we at no point put ourselves down. It's actually, Venerable Geshe says, part of breaking the vows is needless self-reproach. So I want us to reflect on Atisha. I'm sure everybody knows that Atisha revitalized the Dharma in Tibet coming from India. Now, Atisha, as he came into Tibet, it took him a long time to get to Tibet because he'd constantly get off his horse, make prostrations, and purify himself because he's breaking his vows. Like with his mind, the tantric vows, get up on the horse and then they go a few paces, then he'd have like a negative thought about the thing and he'd get back down. And they'd go on like this. And Venerable Geshe said, Atisha never broke his vows. What does that mean? Someone's constantly purifying themselves for breaking the vows. And Venerable Geshe says he never broke his vows at any point. That means, as we go into the, I think I read it out last week, the end of it, the most crucial element to incur a root downfall, 4 binding factors must be present, not regarding the action as wrong, not wishing to abstain from the action in the future, rejoicing in the action, having no sense of shame or consideration for others. Now, none of you are like that, so when we're going through these vows, in order to break them, you basically just don't give a shit anymore about anything or anyone. You just go, I'm just going back on my selfish trip. Forgetting that you're just doing negative actions and not caring at all. No one's like that. Which means that these are the guidelines of opening up our heart. And if you think and go into, oh, I'm breaking my vows, I'll break my vows, you're going to close your heart down. You're going to get tense. You'll give up, and then you will break the vows because you go, I don't care about this stuff anymore. So, whilst you're practicing, you're not breaking your vows. Baron?
Is that what's meant by pure moral discipline? Is that even if you do, like, fuck up and, I don't know, you rude to someone or you get angry, but you apologize and you don't, when you regret it, is that what pure moral discipline is? It's not necessarily just doing all the right things all the right time.
Exactly.
All right, okay.
In fact, it's probably pure. Because let's face it, someone who's trying to do all the right things at the right time, all the time, that's generally selfish mind. It's an obsessive mind. Yeah, it's a mind that's unwilling. This is my experience. I might be wrong. You can check out other teachers. They're so afraid of breaking their vows that they're always like self-correcting. It's like, I'm not really angry with Donald Trump. I'm just stating an objective fact that that's not a nice action, but I'm not really angry with him. I have compassion. I don't believe you. Yeah, the woke mind. Yeah. Whereas the Bodhisattvas, we know we're going to have to get dirty. And the idea that you can, again, be a perfect actor the first day you start acting school is what you're talking about, Baron. It's like, right, now I've heard of what the moral discipline is. I should keep it perfectly, instantly. only a Buddha can keep the moral discipline you're talking about, at which point it's an effortless, spontaneous phenomenon. So they're not actually practicing moral discipline, they are moral discipline. So it's exactly right, Bern, and that's the crucial point, that you're practicing perfect moral discipline by understanding this is making us aware of what a negative action is, and the awareness that I've done something negative is the perfect moral discipline. Someone who doesn't think I'm doing something negative, and no, it's positive, I can do it, I can get angry, I can shout at people if I like. Self-empowerment. Yeah. The vows, then it gives us humility, when it's like overcoming our pride, and just, it's like, well, I've got work to do on myself. So that we totally relax. It's like we can't do it. Well, don't worry, let's get into it and you see what we can't do. There's a couple in here, it's like, I don't know if I've ever done that. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, you just try. It's like, it'd be great to be able to do it. It's like, so let's, like the first one that we're on, number 20, making no effort to control our anger. Sometimes, because of strong habits of anger, or because of difficult circumstances, we find ourselves getting angry. If at such times we do not make a special effort to practice patience, we incur a secondary downfall. That's probably me every day. I'll read out the 10th Dalai Lama's version. In cases when hateful thoughts toward others arise and are appropriated, if one does not view this as a fault and embraces them, that is the misdeed of following after hateful thoughts. Where are we? Who can't not do that? But we understand the guidelines. You're angry, you're pissed off, and the guidelines like, don't follow it. Don't think it's great. That's like, and it's like, no, I'm. It's like, and we do. And I think, no, but I'm right about this one. That's like the mind comes. I'm trying to think. How hard is it not to get angry at the cat? It's 5 a.m. What's the name that I came up from the cat yesterday? It was demonic rat. It's just like, it's like, whenever I'm just about to fall asleep, in comes the cat. And then 4 hours later, it's on my lap. So lying there sleeping, it's like, just like unconditional love is stuff this guy's like, how did I get so angry? So I'll break my vows if I think, I don't care, I'll get angry at the cat whenever I like. I don't care about getting angry at the cat. I don't care about this stuff. That's breaking your vows. It's like, for me, I'm like, right, try again. You know what I mean? Next time it's 5 a.m, trying to get to sleep, it's just go, it's fine, take on the suffering of others. And this is the guidelines, this is the path. And there's things that we can use. One that would get me about anger and through experience is if I say something out of anger, it can destroy a relationship that's been there for 10 years. This is what Venerable Geshe says. And it's like, it says just one word said out of anger. It can destroy the relationship. It's like, I'm not going to speak. And then listen to Gurdjieff's advice, which is just come back 24 hours later and then talk about it. Just step aside. Great advice. Hard to follow. We generally follow it once we've experienced the consequences of doing it. 21. This is very difficult. Be warned. Gathering a circle of followers out of desire for profit or respect. If, for selfish reasons, we try to gather students, disciples, or followers, we incur a secondary downfall. If one gathers followers for the sake of having them honor, serve, or materially support one, that is the misdeed of gathering followers out of a desire for their veneration. Baron.
Does that include using Instagram for business?
No.
You're gathering followers for monetary gain.
No. This is for if you're a Dharma teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This is if you start teaching. It's teaching the Dharma. And you go, oh, I could make lots of money from this. I could get some land in Portugal and have like lots of people kind of around, and I won't have to work and I'll get lots of money and they'll venerate me. And like, then you think you're better than them. Then you're off the Bodhisattva path. Very difficult. This is why, you either want to be told to start teaching, or be very careful when you start teaching. Then it's like, oh, if I'm nice to them, they'll stay, and then they'll keep giving me money. I won't tell them something they need to hear about the Dharma and about themselves, because I'll just be nice to them. In that way, they'll keep coming, and I'll keep getting money. You see, you reckon that'd be tricky? If you haven't overcome any sense of your own need for people saying nice things about you and supporting yourself. Profit and respect are nooses of the Maras who brush them aside like stones on the path. This is Atisha's advice. 22. No. Let's see if this applies to anybody. Not trying to overcome laziness. We have promised to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all living beings, but to accomplish this requires great effort. If we do not try to eliminate our laziness or our attachment to sleep and other worldly pleasures, we incur a secondary downfall. So we probably break that every day of every year of our path. Where are we? 22. During the early and final periods of the night, if one gives into and does not dispel the pleasure of sleeping in, lying down and staying in bed, that is the misdeed of not dispelling laziness and so forth. So we just pray that we could be like that. We aspire. That's we either have devotion or compassion. It's like, so attached to sleeping in. But you're not. But you're overcoming it because people have been getting up to do the practice at 6:45. Again, in our mind, we expect immediately perfect while I'm doing it. If for one day of the year you get up early to practice Dharma instead of sleeping in, you're doing it. Can we do it better? Oh, yeah, of course. But we celebrate. It's like, wow, I do actually sometimes get up, or there's even a conflict or a negotiation, at least just, I'd like to get up in the morning. It's like, oh, I can't be bothered, but I'd like to. And we're doing it. And we can admire and see what an incredible mind that is, that just doesn't get fussed about if they get woken up in the morning. You just get up and you do things, and you just don't give in to can't be bothered. So laziness doesn't mean we run around like a headless chicken. Yep. Practicing Dharma might be resting. So you just practicing is like laying there, just be just aware. Laziness is distracting yourself with like Facebook. What's going on here? This is laziness. Or like working to avoid yourself. It's an inner thing. As we notice these things, as we go on more into these, you'll realize it's impossible to tell who a bodhisattva is. Impossible. Because it's all to do with your motivation. Like when we go through them all, you listen, it's either out of laziness, malice, attachment. Remember this. You can do all of these things with the mind of love. So if you sleep, if you're tired and you're a bodhisattva and you go, I need to rest, then you're not sleeping in out of laziness. In fact, that's you on the path. You're resting because you need to rest. It's this mind of love, just constant mind of love, which you'll have like when you're a mother. If you can ride on that, you're very lucky. If you're a Dharma practitioner, then you become a mother. You can ride on what that love means. It's just naturally there. You're not losing love for your child because you go to sleep. It's like if you don't go to sleep, you won't be able to look after the child. And then it'll just be trouble, trouble, trouble. Laziness would be, oh, I can't be bothered looking after a child, I'm just going to watch some TV. So you can have that mind of love just there all the time. And it's a joy. That means your whole day is a joy because you've got a child and you love them. And then every action you do is a manifestation of that love. Not like a tight, I'm like what Bernd was kind of referred to, this tight kind of big brother inner monitor of every action you do and judging it. That's wrong, that's wrong. So if you've got a mind of love, you don't even think about these things. You can do anything you like. We just checked out, do we have a mind of unconditional love? I mean, probably not all the time, right? So these help us have a mind of unconditional love. 23. So I'm just reminding you, please don't judge yourself. Indulging in senseless conversation out of attachment. If we spend much of our time doing this, we incur secondary death. And the other one is, if one wastes time out of attachment to distracting chatter about politics, crime, women, and so on, that is the misdeed of indulging in useless speech due to attachment. It basically means being a teenager. Can you remember being a teenager? You're just utterly bored. And then it's just like, you watch In Between Us? It's like, yeah, that's it. We will revert back, just like chatting about women, blah, 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 you know, TV programs, blah, 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 blah. Out of attachment. Because we have a need to be liked or to fit in with the group, which is blah, 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 blah. It's not out of, you've got a mind of love and kindness, and we sit down at lunch we're on retreat and we're talking about UFC and things. It's not that. It's called being a human. It's called being nice. It's called enjoying yourself. It's called communing. It's called love. Talking to each other. If you're just like bored, you need someone's attention. Yeah, you want their attention. You're trying to get in there, and you're just uncomfortable with yourself. It's like blah, 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 blah. You can't stop it. Then you're getting into you start getting into, oh, they did this, they did that. We understand, right? In fact, talk more, to train yourself out of it by talking about positive things like how much you loved something, how much you loved a movie, what you liked about the movie. Then you understand it's like you're going into Dharma because it's talking about love and talking about Lord of the Rings, like the journey of Frodo, and go, oh, I love this, I love that. Then you're loving each other. That feeling of that's love. How else are you going to love someone if you can't talk to them? Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to sit there and talk about emptiness. Out of attachment. Now, can you see attachment? How do you know if someone's not a bodhisattva? They might be just talking about UFC, about women, about crime, and they're on the path to enlightenment. You can never judge a bodhisattva. You don't know. It's all to do with please, 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 please don't go into needless self-reproach. Just start making the connection with, we meditate to generate a happy mind. We understand we've got a happy, loving mind. We just then sit in the canteen at work and chat with people. It's a bodhisattva action. You'll notice if you start getting caught up in their negativity. If someone's just negative and you've got this loving mind, you might just sit there quietly. But they may need someone to talk to. And so you'll talk about the UFC or the crime show they're watching or what's happening. Out of love. And you're all loving. It's not abstract. Sitting there with someone and caring for them is love. And actually, we probably can see motivations to some level. We can see someone who's just trying to get attention by chatting. No? You all do, but don't. No needless self-reproach. Now, I know I've been in Dharma centers, I've been around thousands of practitioners who just constantly put themselves down with the inner critic. Oh, I broke the vows. It's like, no, how can you can't live, they're miserable. The purpose of this is to uplift us. But being a kind, loving person engaging in chat is actually the path. Sitting there for about 2 hours talking garbage, you're probably going to start sweating. You know that feeling when I should have gone to bed half an hour ago. We all know it, don't we? And it's like, that very feeling of I should have gone to bed half an hour ago. That's what Baron said, that's you keeping moral discipline. The feeling of, I don't give a fuck how bad I felt, I slagged them off, I don't care. We've left the path. That very sense, I should have gone to bed half an hour ago. That's regret. That's keeping the path, Don't be a perfectionist. You get tight, like, I should have gone to bed and you try to imagine and you wish I'd done it and you sit there for like half a day. Oh, if I'd gone to bed earlier. Then you're self-obsessing again, right? It's just, I should have gone to bed about half an hour ago. Maybe next time I'll do better. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I know what you're like because I know what I'm like. Yeah, we all do it. (24) Neglecting to train in mental stabilization. Shamatha. The attainment of tranquil abiding is essential if we wish to attain profound realizations. If we fail to make an effort to listen to and think about the instructions on tranquil abiding, or to improve our concentration by training in tranquil abiding, we incur a secondary downfall. In cases when one wishes to settle the mind in meditative equipoise, but out of malice or laziness, one does not go to receive practical instructions on samadhi, That is the misdeed of not seeking the point of samadhi. So, none of you have to particularly worry about that. Like, it's not like coming to classes, it's got too much pride, I don't need to listen to Dharma anymore. We just did 100 days of shamatha, everybody came. You're doing it. It's just like wandering off, going, I don't need to meditate. I know awareness. Don't need to bother. Don't need to listen to the Dharma anymore. That kind of thing. I'm sure all of us could feel that we could maybe sit more. But a lot of that time is our perfectionism. And actually we can generally only sit to the capacity that we're at. And we're probably practicing the right amount. My experience, I think it's impossible for us at the moment to sit for 10 hours in meditation. And as it says in the instructions on shamatha, we start with small amounts. So again, just feel that you're actually doing it. You're actually on the Bodhisattva path. You're actually practicing it. You see, it's not too hard. Does anybody have any questions at the moment? Anyone online with any questions, or out there in the internet land? No questions? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that last point you're talking about, after Wednesday's class, I had a kind of, not panic's the right word, but there's a sense of urgency, like there's another level of commitment I can take. I know I can up it. And I do that quite a lot, that kind of put myself down because I could be practicing more, because I could be. But I just sometimes not very good with the balance of accepting what I'm doing is enough, and I can't put it into words, but I think you know what I mean.
It's like what you say, it's a balance. It's a constant balancing, constant moving. And sometimes we'll hear teachings that emphasize the suffering of the baby. And sometimes we'll hear teachings that emphasize the party we're at. And it's like knowing and like sensing when and where and how we need to move. We can never grab it. It's not something we figure out. That's what I mean. If we're trying to figure it out with our mind, we will remain in confusion. The idea is that we train until we can just spontaneously know when to go back to the baby, when to be at the party, when to enjoy ourselves, and we can dance with it. And I think an important point for you is what Geshe says, that term, needless self-reproach. And it's when we stray too much into as if we're doing something negative because we're not practicing 10 hours a day. We can always have a sense, I'd like to practice more. So it's like I was like 1 o'clock last night and I'm like, right, well, I put on another teaching. I'm like, no, just sit. Just sit for this, it's like, as I know that it's like you wear yourself out. So it's knowing how to keep the practice fresh. It's an important point as well, keeping it fresh. It's a particular thing I emphasize, that I do a lot of new stuff a lot of the time. But if you go to a traditional Dharma center, you just get the same phrases for like 10 years. And people get bored. I know they do, because that's how I train and was with them. So it's like, just do new stuff, bit of two more here, then we'll try this, and it keeps it kind of fresh. And just over time you learn just a gentle moving, the flap of the wings. I think when we first start the Dharma, like a crazy bird. Whereas then we like become more like an eagle. We just occasionally go, okay, do I need to do more? Well, I could do more. Do I need to relax? Need to relax. It just becomes soft and easy. And it's nice to have a sense that we can do more, but it's this relaxed way of doing it. The homework I gave you is to try and overcome that we practice and then let it go. Put that energy we've gained from Dharma into life. So a sense of trying to overcome that greed and perfectionism of getting it right and trying to hold on to something as if we're holding on to shamatha or being like, not trying to lose the object and the fear of falling into just release. Hopefully this series of talk is make you understand that if you've got like a good motivation, like you're saying, Hakim, you're never not practicing.
I think there's a quite a strong paradigm in myself of there's a certain amount of input required in order to get to this finishing point. And sometimes that just doesn't make sense at all. I think that can really get muddled up with that feeling of I need to do more.
What's happening is we're just going to, when we say like we're doing more, is we're just aware more. It will sound like a strange language. Aware more. Aware more. We're aware more. That's all that's happening. It's quite a profound state to be aware completely of the awareness in which all phenomena are arising. If we looking at these vows, essentially what we're doing is we're just becoming aware of our motivations. And when we're lazy, we're like, I can't be bothered looking at it. Let's put something on, blah, blah. Or when we're chatting, just to completely just get caught up in our ego self. But as you said, like the path has to be this complete 24/7 relaxation. Like inner. But we know that we can't relax until we're trained. It's part of the paradox you're experiencing, Hakim. Because if we let go now, we'll just slip into the lower self and into our habitual tendencies of anger, pride, jealousy. So there's like a tension in which we're becoming aware. It's like an effort to be aware until that awareness just becomes a natural thing. We're just aware, all right, okay, I'm angry. And we just understand what anger is and we understand our relationship to it. And this only happens through time and practice on the path. But that's what practice is then. Like that's not something you're doing. It's just a spontaneous understanding, oh, I'm angry. And I need to let it go. When we first hear those words, we have to make an effort to let go of the anger. But those same words apply to an effortless state of letting go of the anger. We are self-aware, we're angry, we just release it. And it's effortless. And that's part of the training, especially for people who think a lot, is to get in that sense of the effortlessness, the relaxation side of what practice is. Aren't you?
Yeah, no, I had been having feelings coming up from the Vajrasattva practice. I think I pushed that too much and I feel a bit like I went too high and then fell off a cliff. It's like, oh, I really need to settle myself down. But I think a lot of that self-reproach came up at those points, just feeling like I wasn't good enough. I could never get past that kind of past karma that seems to churn continually in my mind. And it really felt like, I just felt like I had wandered off the path, because where was my joyful mind? Where was my, appreciation? All the gratitude was still there, but it was like, why is this sadness seemed to be really getting a grip of me? And then I felt myself thinking, well, thank God it's time for Tara retreat. That's what I need. And I don't know whether or not I am then grasping on to being led rather than taking my own inner mechanism as, right, you know what you're doing and you know when you need to pull back. So I'm just trying to maybe raise myself up a bit from that self-reproach, because during May that felt heavy for me. So maybe, I just need to lighten up and give myself a break. And I am looking forward to the Tara retreat, because it feels like that would be different. But I want to be aware that I'm not grasping onto that as a solution to my own craziness.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you kind of answered your question yourself, but it does remind me of how seriously we take ourselves. Yeah. It's like according to Buddha, we've been committing negative actions for 70 trillion lifetimes, just off the top of your head. In Buddha's cosmology, it's similar to Hinduism, that Brahma breathes out, the universe is created. Brahma breathes in, the universe is destroyed. And it's called one kalpa. And there's countless kalpas, there's countless universes. Brahma breathes out, another universe. Brahma breathes in. And we've been going since those universes. There's not been a time when we haven't been. And in that time, we've committed a lot of negative. Yeah. So don't worry about the last couple of years, Same time, people who live in that paradigm get really slack. They're just like got all eternity to do it. It's just like, it doesn't matter. We get we approach it like we're gonna try and we've got to build the Empire State Building in like 4 years under contract. Isn't it? It's like, and there's someone like, the big brother camera, and it's like, oh, you didn't do right that day, and it's like you're falling from the path. It's like falling from the path is kind of like, you don't practice for like a year, 2 years, and then you start to develop like resentment towards that you ever did it, and you think, oh, it's all rubbish, all that stuff, and you regret having practiced, and then you just start criticizing. Well, it's like falling from the path. Yeah. Kind of recognizing maybe you push too much and you spend the summer not meditating and just going down partying, going down the pub once a week and just writing poetry and stuff. You're just kind of resting. It's not something, hopefully that doesn't happen. You can maintain a meditation practice. If you don't, and then you go, I've had a rest for 6 weeks or a few months after, I really feel like getting back into study, and you haven't left the path. You just be really careful with the tight mind. My hope is that you just don't get tight, and then you just meditate every day. And it's just like, it's just really nice. You just stop judging yourself, like stop waiting for results. The non-negotiation is you just get up in the morning, you make breakfast. I mean, toast, that was nice toast. You don't overanalyze it. It's like, some people do, don't they? They get really tight about their diet. Oh no, I shouldn't have eaten the toast, and now I've got like, I feel slightly tired, or I shouldn't have eaten this food, and now I can't sit on my stomach, and it's just like, you generally want to go, oh, that was a nice curry, could maybe have that next week. And every day you know you're going to eat, and when you have your meat, you enjoy it. And then it's like, okay, right, I've eaten now, I ate, so I can now go outside and go for a walk. I meditated, so I can now be with my partner and enjoy our time. You've got to learn to kind of relax around it. When we're practicing shamatha in a formal session, it gives you that chance just to really focus in that time. And out with that, you've got to learn to relax until you slowly develop this awareness that's there all the time anyway. You just notice it's there. And as we're engaging in these things, slowly, our intention changes. Our heart turns and changes. I just read a bit from Castaneda, and it's like, I mean, he never ceases to blow my mind. I mean, he's got to be one of the greatest masters of the 20th century. He says things in which no Buddha can say. They can't. I've never come across any stuff in what the Buddha says that captures that mysterious sense of how the spirit functions. His insight is unbelievable. You get drawn into this world of the intent of the masters, and it's just there's a subtle level of fear about it, and we know this level of fear of like the world that we worship is, we're leaving it. And you'll watch a movie of like just general romance of people in New York, and you're just like, oh, why am I doing this Dharma? I just want to be normal. That's the pull of the world. But the pull of the Buddhas is like this underlying spirit. They've got you in their intention, which is their love for you, to be free from this paradigm that you're in. And it's compelling and it's frightening. Part of the avoidance of that is practicing the path in the way that we do other things. Like, I'm going to get it. It's like, it's actually an avoidance of that soft, opening, vulnerable, loving, I can't do it. I'm in your hands. But these are like descriptions of a state that's beyond how we think. You know, because like it can only be like, again, Castaneda puts it very beautifully. It's along these lines. It can't be pointed out directly. These are not intellectual concepts. These are certain feelings we have around what's happening on the path. Sometimes we feel like the master's kind of reeled you in. It's like, I just thought I was coming along just to relax or have a good time. And now you're talking about like, I'm imagining myself as a red woman and everything's bliss. And it's like, what is going on? And then you watch like Gavin and Stacey, and it's like, I'd like to just go to London, have a relationship with someone and drink some beer and chat about the football. You know what I mean? But something you've been drawn into this intention, it just... It's a long kind of winded way of describing this sense of falling into the mysterious, the wonder of life. Just watch the inner critic. My function in doing these vows, I haven't come across many people who talk like this, so I mean, I could be wrong. So you might want to check out a more traditional version of the vows. But they generally crack the whip down, and that's not my understanding of it though. My understanding is to lift your heart into that space of what we did at the start of the session, the meditation. That's why you have the guru. People visualize the guru always at the crown of their head or in their heart, laughing at you. Laughing at you, laughing with you. Just this unconditional love. And I'll remind you again. You imagine you've got your child and you're going to teach it to catch. You throw the ball at the child and it hits its hand. You don't go, oh, come on. And you imagine that the child catches it and then lets it go. You just go, you'd be like, oh, wow, you did it. You caught the ball. You don't go, fucking hell, you dropped it after 1 second. And you throw it again, it doesn't catch. You go, you're rubbish. You caught it before, now you can't do it. That's how you're speaking to yourself. You have to speak to yourself, I caught the ball. And like, imagine that you're the mud. Like, that's how Buddha's looking at you. Yeah, you meditated on love for 1 second and they're like, yes. Yeah, the next day you don't do it. They don't care. They don't care. If like a year later you then pick up the ball again, yes. They're not sitting judging you. They don't judge. They've got unconditional love. And you just imagine them there. It's like my favourite moment with Venerable Geshe is like we knew he was always in his room, but there was an ordination ceremony, so we knew where he'd be. We knew he had to leave his room. And they said the meditation room was like up a flight of stairs, and his room was over this side. So there's just a few of us waiting, because this was before the festival, and we're just waiting outside for the room. And they opened the door for where the ordination happened. You just hear Geshe laughing. You just hear him laughing, laughing, laughing. Then he comes to the door side laughing, sees us, he starts laughing. Goes down the stairs laughing, 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 prostrates at us, laughing, 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 laughing. Goes up the stairs laughing, laughing, laughing. The door shuts, you just hear him laughing, 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 laughing. That's just what they like. That's what they're not saying. Oh no, you were lazy. You stayed in bed. Or you're a bad person. That's what the fuck is that? Sorry, I'll try not to swear. I'll never do it. That's just Catholic guilt. That's like people who don't know anything about love, trying to constrict your being under a set of rules from an ego that doesn't know anything about life or the path. That's power tripping. It's the opposite of unconditional love. It's unconditional. It's unconditional. That means if you kill your mother, it doesn't affect the Buddha's mind towards you. It's unconditional. You just put that on you, just have it there. It's like, right, if I killed my mother, if I murdered Buddha's mother, if I tortured his child, and I went to him and turned, this is the power of Vajrasattva, I said, I'm really sorry I did it. Oh, it's okay, you're purified. That's how powerful his love is, and the connection, if you just hold your hand out. They say Vajrasattva can purify that in one lifetime. And what's the worst we've done? We got slightly annoyed, like with our partner, and snapped at them. It's like, oh, wow, the Buddhas are weeping. Oh, how can we help them? You turn to that being of love. It's like, oh. The Sufis just, I mean, there's all like the Twilight language. You take one step towards God, he takes 1,000 steps towards you. It's just waiting. Please. They're like, please don't put yourself down. Please don't put yourself down. Please don't put yourself down. Every time you put yourself down, you're withdrawing. By definition, you're not understanding unconditional love. You're creating a gap. You're afraid to come home. Have you done that? You're afraid to go home? It's like Chris Rock says, you know, it's scarier when your mum says, wait till I tell your dad, than if you were to go to the police. It's like, oh, the fear of dad, you know. That's not what we're talking about. We understand that our dad loves us and we're going to get sorted out for doing something wrong. If you're afraid to go home, that means you don't understand unconditional love. We know that we're going to get a bollocking, but we know it doesn't matter. So I'm maybe straying from the point, but that's still, your dad's got conditional love. It's like my mum had unconditional love. There was also mixed with attachment of a person. That's interesting. When I met Geshe-la, it's the same love, but there was no personal stuff with it, which is a really it was a strange phenomenon. But unconditional love. Try and get the sense that if you're afraid to be with someone, that you're creating a gap. It doesn't mean you have to go and tell everybody what you do. Yeah, it's not like the priests and the church. You know, it's between you and God, you and the holy beings. Then you can relax. You can't relax if you're going to be judged, right? You're judging yourself. Stop it. It's like when we have I like to have a break in the summer. I mean, it's good to practice like with the Dharma constantly. But I understand we need it's good just to rest and loosen up even more. But it's also good to go and see another teacher. And say, if you can go and see Garchen Rinpoche, I mean, he's in America, but I think he's doing, say, Haruka empowerment in August. Then there's a being with unconditional love. I don't think it'd matter. Do you think it'd matter to like Garchen Rinpoche that, you know, you farted in your partner's face and you didn't regret it for an hour? You're like, oh, no, can't come into the Pure Land. You're a bad person. It's preposterous talk, isn't it? It's like you're trying your best to wake up, but you weren't perfect. Sorry, you're not getting in. Isn't it? It's like people out there killing children, dropping bombs on kids, you know, people destroying farmlands, you know, people out there, basically they're trying to cull the population of humanity. They openly say it now, that this is our goal, is to get population down to 500 million. But you've been practicing and meditating and trying to develop unconditional love for 10 years, but you slept in. You're not getting in. They are, but you're not. Hopefully I'm making it really clear how stupid that mind is. Or your baby drops something out the crib. Fuck it, we're giving it away for adoption. It's not worthy. What happens if you see a baby drop something in the crib? It's like, oh, it's so cute. That's what you're like to the Buddhas. It's like, oh, they slept in and they're so cute. They're trying this. They want to cry when you meditate for half an hour. With like, oh my goodness, they did it for half an hour. Until you're at their level, and then they can talk in friendship. Then you're a brother and a sister. You're one. That's what they wanted to come to unite. How can you unite? How can you unite? How can you engage in union if you think you're bad? Oh, don't see me. Right, here I am with all my foibles. And it's like the Buddha, I love you so much. Mwah, mwah. And it's like, what's the worst thing you did? Well, you know, it's like, oh. Let it go. Right, now we want to enjoy yourself. Right, how are you going to do that? It's like, well, I'm going to be strict and tight about watching every single move I do. Do you know what I mean? That's the Pure Land. Is that the Pure Land? It's like, oh no, I stood up too soon. Oh no, I sat down. Oh no, I stood in the Guru's shadow. That's like, what's going on? Oh no, I can't sleep in. Oh no, I've gone to bed too early. No, I meditate for 24 minutes. Should have been half an hour. Oh, didn't do the offering bowls. Oh, shouldn't. You give up. How can anyone not give that? It's impossible to maintain that, right? That's just tension. It's like a ball of pain. We start from the sense of relaxation, and it's like we celebrate whatever we do that's on the path. So I got out of bed in the morning, yay! And you don't focus on the negative. Because, and finish off here, we want to be that one who creates that Pure Land. And again, if you have a child, you're naturally doing it. You're naturally creating an environment where they're not threatened, where they feel safe and loved, no matter what they do. Isn't that right? That's the Pure Land, that they come in. What they're perceiving, that's the Pure Land. The Enneagram types, when they leave the heaven, they start. You can't not make that happen. Like you can just walk out the room and that'll be the Enneagram type. Because in that moment, they experience a sense of abandonment for the first time. What are you going to do? Keep your child in your breast forever? You can't not have it, yeah? But we ourselves, in our hearts, create the environment. They will leave the Pure Land as the ego develops. But this is what we want to create, a Pure Land in which we invite others into a space where they're not judged. But we have to, first of all, be the one who doesn't judge ourselves. That's the first training of the Bodhisattva. And what a beautiful thing to do. So that's 1 o'clock. Sun shining. I won't keep you in. I hope that was, I hope you're doing all right on the Bodhisattva path. Some of you, hope they'll see you tomorrow to decide what classes we'll do for the rest of the month. Thank you so much for engaging on the Bodhisattva journey. And I pray, let's dedicate that all beings feel the joy of the unconditional love that is their own true nature. That all beings, as much as they can, feel the Pure Land of their own mind and manifest it out to all beings they meet in all situations. That they laugh, dance, and play through life, giving, sharing, with effortless joy. And may we all awaken from this sleep of suffering and imagine a world where there's no hatred, no jealousy, and no ego, but a world of play and communion and love. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Amen. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.